I'm going to be completely resetting the entire NHL, but there's only 8 teams that are left in the league, which pretty much means that every single team left is going to be a super team. We're going to have stacked roster up against stacked roster, and you're probably wondering, why am I going to remove basically 90% of the NHL? You guys are always asking me, what is my second favorite team? What is my least favorite team? Asking me if I like this team or this team. Well, guess what? I'm going to keep my top 8 favorite teams in the NHL into this league for this simulation, so you guys can know which teams that I like more than others. These are my favorite 8 teams in the NHL for different reasons. Maybe I like their star player. Maybe I like their jerseys. Maybe I like their team's history. So let's go and find out which NHL teams I have left in the league. All right, so here is the new NHL after removing basically 90% of the league. I don't know the exact percentage, but most of the teams are gone. We have the Chicago Blackhawks, Colorado Avalanche, Dallas Stars, Edmonton Oilers, New York Rangers, Pittsburgh Penguins, Tampa Bay Lightning, and the Toronto Maple Leafs. Now, I guess I would have to say these are probably my top 8 teams in the NHL at this moment. It changes pretty much every single season, but for right now in 2024, these are probably my favorite teams to watch in the NHL for different reasons as well. Like Chicago, they're god-awful franchise at the moment. They basically only have one good player, and that's Connor Bedard. That's the only reason I ever throw on a Blackhawks game. A team like Dallas, I don't watch a lot of their games, but I do really like their jerseys. I think they have the best jerseys in the entire league. Edmonton, of course, is my favorite team. The Rangers, you can't go wrong with a game in Madison Square Garden. That arena is just too famous. The Pittsburgh Penguins have Sid the Kid Crosby and have had him for the past 20 years, so that's basically my reason there. Tampa Bay, they were a dynasty, almost won 3 straight. They got a lot of studs on their team as well. Kucherov tearing up in the NHL right now, leading in points race. Toronto's a very interesting one because I absolutely hate their fan base, but I do enjoy their team. Their team's history, I mean, in the last 50 years, there's not much history, but they have some good players on their team like Matthews, Marner, Nylander. John Tavares used to be pretty good. He's okay now. I mean, Morgan Riley. I enjoy watching Toronto games, but their fan base is so horrible. By far the worst in the entire NHL. I also forgot about the Colorado Avalanche. How could you forget about them? They're the greatest team of all time. They also have Nathan MacKinnon, who's an absolute stud. So there it is. The entire NHL now only consists of 8 teams. We're also going to be doing a fantasy draft, so you're not going to see Connor McDavid on the Oilers. So for the fantasy draft order, all I've done is basically the Stanley Cup droughts of each team here. Whoever had it the longest is going to select higher in the draft, and of course Colorado was the last team to win it in 2022, and then it was Tampa, Pittsburgh, Chicago, Dallas, New York, Edmonton, and then Toronto, of course, has the legendary, I think it's like 56 years at this point that they have not won a Stanley Cup since 1967, so they will be selecting first. All right, now it's time to take a look at every single roster in the NHL, starting with the Chicago Blackhawks, who have Jason Robertson, Nathan MacKinnon, and Evander Kane on the first line. They also have Steven Stamkos as a 90 overall. On D, they have Erik Karlsson as their best defender, and their starting goalie is going to be Stuart Skinner, and their backup is Nedeljkovic. That is bad, Chicago. Next up is the Colorado Avalanche, who have guys like Jake Gensel, Rope Hintz, Mikko Rantanen is still there. John Tavares is their second-line centerman. Defensively, they do have Adam Fox, who simulates pretty well. I mean, he used to simulate better in NHL 23. Not as good in 24, but still amazing. They also have the greatest captain of all time in Jacob Trouba, and their starting goalie is going to be Tristan Jarry, with their backup being Peter Mrazek, which is not bad. It's not great either, but it's pretty decent, especially for this super team league. The Dallas Stars have a lethal first line in Gabriel Landeskog, Leon Draisaitl, and Zach Hyman. Tyler Seguin is still on the Stars. Vinny Trocheck is here. Offensively, they are stacked. They have Victor Hedman, Chris Letang, and Matthias Ekholm as their top 3 defensemen. And in goal, their starting goalie will be Jake Ottinger, so they did reselect him. Honestly, Dallas low-key might be a favorite to win the Stanley Cup. They have a pretty good roster, very good defensively. The New York Rangers have Jamie Benn, Evgeny Malkin, and Mitch Marner, and honestly, not much else offensively. Now, defensively, they do have the best defenseman in the game, which is Cale Makar at a 95 overall. Also, Seth Jones, who's a decent overall. And in goal, they have Igor Shesterkin still at a 92 overall, so that should definitely help them out a ton. I don't know, they can be an up and down team. They could be very good, but also very bad. Now, the Penguins, they have Mika Zibanejad, Braden Point, and Nikita Kucherov on the first line. Damn, that might be the best first line so far that I've seen. And the rest of their forward core is not great. It's pretty decent, though. Defensively, they have Devon Taves and Darnell Nurse, and in goal, they have Alexander Georgiev. So, Pittsburgh, I'm sorry, but you guys are in a tough spot, honestly. I don't see your team being that good unless you guys get carried by that first line. Now, the Tampa Bay Lightning, they have Artemi Panarin, Connor Bedard, Brian Rust, Matthew Nyes, pieces on the team. Now the Tampa Bay Lightning, they have Breadman, Bedard, Brian Rust on the first line. Not much else offensively. Defensively, they do have Sergachev and Bowen Byram, but I mean, they're still not the highest overalls. And in goal, they have Ilya Samsonov. Damn, Tampa Bay honestly might have the worst team out of any team that I looked at so far. Now the Toronto Maple Leafs, who selected first overall, are going to take Connor McDavid from the Edmonton Oilers, as well as Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. They did reselect Nylander, so their first line is very good. Also, Valerie Nichushkin, Matt Duchene, Chris Kreider, pretty good top six. Defensively, they have Miro Heiskanen and Morgan Riley. And in goal, they're going to have Joseph Wall as their starting goalie at only an 82 overall, which is not great. And you guys already know that I saved the best for last, which I mean, I think the Oilers have the best roster. They have Crosby, Matthews, and Pavelski on that first line. Also, Lafreniere, Taylor Hall is here. Defensively, they have Samuel Girard. Wow, their decor is pretty horrific, I gotta be real. It is not looking too great, but goalie-wise, they do have Andrei Vasilevsky as their starting goalie. The highest rated overall goalie at a 93 overall, so that should definitely help out their simulation. So it is now time to see which roster dominates the simulation, as we're gonna sim for 5 years. See who goes on to take home the award, see who wins the Stanley Cup, good stuff like that. Listen, if you guys do enjoy videos like this, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Also, turn on notifications. Make sure you don't miss a single live stream or video that I put out on the channel. And now, without further ado, let's go ahead and simulate to see who dominates the pasta NHL of basically my favorite teams that are in the league currently. So at the end of season number 1, the Chicago Blackhawks are going to finish as the best team, winning 51 games, followed by Colorado, New York, and Dallas. Of course, 4 teams will make the playoffs and 4 teams are going to miss. The teams that missed were Toronto, Pittsburgh, Edmonton, and Tampa Bay. Damn, man, the Oilers were that damn bad. 36 wins. I mean, defensively, they were horrible. I thought their offense and goalie could carry them, but I guess not. Pittsburgh was not good as well. Toronto. For the entire NHL, Austin Matthews is going to lead in scoring with 114 points, followed by Crosby's 104. McDavid had 102. Pavelski had 102. The Oilers had 3 100-point scorers and still could not make the playoffs. That's typical Oilers fashion. Lander had 99. Draisaitl was up there. Breadman as well. Mikko Rantanen had a good season, as well as Nathan McKinnon. Only 95 points. He's probably going to crush that in real life. I'd say around 120 he'll finish with. Now, for the goal side, Leon Draisaitl is going to lead with 55 goals, followed by Matthews, 48. Rantanen was up there with 44. Malkin at 43. Bedard, 43 as a rookie on Tampa Bay. McDavid, 43. Kucherov was up there. Crosby as well. Now, for defensemen, Erik Karlsson's going to lead, 89 points. Adam Fox was 1 point behind. Cale Makar not far behind either. I mean, 83 points. Those are by far the best 3 defensemen in the entire league. Sergachev had 70. Letang, 70. Hedman was up there. Heiskanen had a pretty down season, only 59 points. Stuart Skinner somehow going to lead all goalies and wins with 35. Tristan Jarry was up there. Shesterkin at 33. Ottinger, 29. Now, for the shutout side, Ottinger's going to lead with 5. Skinner had 3. Shesterkin as well. Tristan Jarry. And here we go. Our final 4, of course, the playoffs are only going to be 2 rounds. We got Chicago and Dallas, Colorado and New York. Let's see who advances to the Stanley Cup Finals in year number 1. And in the Stanley Cup Finals, we have a matchup between the Chicago Blackhawks and the New York Rangers. So let's go ahead and see who takes home the Stanley Cup at the end of season number 1. Chicago or New York? Who is it gonna be? And the New York Rangers are gonna do it, as they absolutely dominate Chicago in 5 games in the Stanley Cup Finals. It was not even really remotely close. They were by far the better team, and it really seems like no matter what team that New York rolls out here in NHL 24, EA Sports just heavily favors them. They dominate pretty much every simulation that I do here in the game. Now, of course, they do have a very good team, though, with Cale Makar, Mitch Marner, Evgeny Malkin's there, Seth Jones, Nichushkin, Jamie Benn, Chernak, Max Domi is there, and their starting goalie is Igor Shesterkin, who is very good in the game, so congrats to the Rangers for taking it home in year number 1. For the playoffs, Mitch Marner is going to lead in scoring with 17 points in 11 games. Malkin had 16, Makar 16, Stammer was up there as well as Brandon Hagel. Jamie Benn actually had a pretty good playoff run, tied for the most goals, or actually the third most goals at 5. Rantanen, Kane, and Evgeny Malkin had 7 goals. Leon Draisaitl is going to win the Ted Lindsay, Maurice Richard, and Hart Trophy, while the Art Ross went to Austin Matthews. The Norris is going to go to Adam Fox, the Calder, of course, to Bedard, the Conn Smythe to Cale Makar, the Vezina to Stuart Skinner, Skinner, and the Selke will go to Connor McDavid of the Toronto Maple Leafs. In the offseason here in free agency, these are the UFAs available. Jake Gensel is there, probably the best player at a 91 overall. He's still got a lot of time left, 29 years old. Ryan Suter's there, kind of falls off, damn. Giordano, Beliveau, Blake Wheeler, Warren Fogle. Yeah, the only real available great free agent is Jake Gensel. And it looks like Jake Gensel is going to end up signing with the New York Rangers, making them even stronger after making the Stanley Cup Finals. And it looks like Jake Gensel is going to pull a Kevin Durant and join the reigning and, well, Kevin Durant didn't join the reigning and defending Stanley Cup champions, but it's still a snake move nonetheless, making the Rangers even better. He's a 91 overall. The Rangers literally just won the cup last year, so I'm willing to bet they're probably going to go back-to-back. I also forgot to mention I did turn salary cap off for this. There's only 8 teams in the NHL. They should be able to form super teams if they want to, just to make things more interesting and let teams sign whatever players they want to sign. And of course, you guys already know we're dealing with the computers here building rosters, which I mean, they don't really do a great job. So absolutely no surprise here as the Rangers end up finishing as the best team in the NHL. They won 52 games, by far the best team. It was not even close. Edmonton was up there in second place with 44, Pittsburgh as well as Chicago. They would all end up making the playoffs. Unfortunately, Dallas, Toronto, Tampa Bay, and Colorado all missed out. Connor McDavid is going to absolutely tear up as he leads in goals with 67 and points with 116, followed by Kucherov's 116. Nylander had 116 as well, so a 3-way tie for the Art Ross. I don't know if that's ever happened in NHL history. Somebody let me know in the comments below if it has. Crosby had 113. Gensel had 111 on the Rangers, as well as Braden Point, Malkin 109, McKinnon 108, and Zibanejad 103. The goal side, other than McDavid, Kucherov at 58, McKinnon 56, Malkin 56 at age 38. Draisaitl was up there with 52, Matthews 47 for defensemen now. Makar is going to dominate, 96 points, 16 goals. Karlsson did have 24 goals, though, on a not very great Chicago team. Devon Taves was up there with 71. Heiskanen had a better season, I guess, 66 points. For goalies, Vasi's going to lead in wins with 40, Shesterkin at 36, as well as Ottinger's 31, and now for shutouts, it's going to be Otter yet again. This time he had 5, Vasi had 4, Shesterkin 4, and Georgiev 4. And in the playoffs, we have the Rangers versus Chicago, Edmonton versus Pittsburgh. Let's see who goes on and makes the Stanley Cup Finals in year number 2. And in the finals, yet again, we have the Rangers looking to go back-to-back, but they are up against the Pittsburgh Penguins. Let's go on and see if they can get it done, or will Pittsburgh prove to be the better team and pull off the upset here in year number 2? And I mean, nobody should be surprised here as the Rangers go on yet again, going back-to-back and winning that Stanley Cup. They did have a hard-fought series against Pittsburgh, though. It went to Game 7, but the Rangers luckily pulled it off in Game 7, clutched it up, and they're going to get another Stanley Cup, their second of the video. They've gone 2 for 2 so far. As we already know, they had a great team before they added Jake Gensel to the roster, who is a 91. They also have Malkin, Marner, Makar, I mean, Seth Jones, Igor Shesterkin's on that team. They're just a very good team overall. And a well-deserved Stanley Cup is going to go to them here in year number 2. Mika Zibanejad is going to lead all skaters in scoring for the playoffs with 18, followed by Cale Makar 17. Malkin was up there. Kucherov had a good playoff run. Braden Point 15. Max Domi had 4 goals and 13 points on the Rangers. And there you go. The Rangers went back-to-back. They're now going to be looking for a 3-peat heading into year number 3. Jake Gensel is going to take home the Ted Lindsay and the Hart Trophy, while the Art Ross and Maurice Richard is going to go to McDavid. I don't know how that happened. The Norris to Cale Makar, the Lady Bing to Kucherov. The Calder is going to go to this guy. The Conn Smythe to Makar as well. Vezina will go to Vasi, and the Selke will go to Leon Draisaitl of the Dallas Stars. Honestly, here in free agency, we don't have that many great free agents available. I mean, Jamie Benn's there. He's only an 85, though. TJ Brody, Cody Ceci, Blake Wheeler. There's not really many great options here. So yet again, for 3 years in a row, the Rangers are going to finish as the best team in the NHL. Dallas actually had the same amount of wins, but New York would have more overtime losses, which meant more points. Rangers had 107, Dallas 104. Chicago also made the playoffs, as well as Pittsburgh. Edmonton, Tampa Bay, Colorado, and Toronto all missed, unfortunately. Mitch Marner is going to go ahead and lead the entire NHL in scoring with 109 points, followed by Matthews 108. Erik Karlsson had 104. Jake Gensel was up there, 102. Kucherov had 100. Draisaitl, Crosby, McKinnon, and Makar were all up there. The goal side, Matthews is going to lead with 65 tucks, followed by Draisaitl's 54. McDavid had 47. A pretty much a down year for him. Antonin had 45. Gensel 45. Marner 44. Kucherov was up there. Bedard only had 41. He's now 20 years old, so he should be putting up better than 82 points on the season. Now for defensemen, Erik Karlsson, of course, is going to lead with 104. Makar was 10 points behind, 9 points behind with 93. Shesterkin's going to lead all goalies and wins with 39, followed by Ottinger's 38. Georgiev had 33. Now for the shutout side, again, Otter is going to lead. This time he had 6. Avassi 4. David Riddick had 4. In the playoffs, we have the Rangers versus the Pens, Dallas versus Chicago. In the playoffs, we have the Rangers versus the Pens, Dallas, and Chicago. Let's see who goes on and makes the Stanley Cup Finals. And again, no surprise as the Rangers are going to make it here for the 3rd year in a row. This time they're up against the Chicago Blackhawks. I don't know. I honestly just see the Rangers dominating and winning their 3rd Stanley Cup of the video. Maybe Chicago can upset them. Let's go on and see if they can do it. Pull off the upset of the century. And the Rangers are going to do it. They are going to pull off the three-peat as they dominate Chicago in 5 games in the Stanley Cup Finals. I'm not surprised at all. Nobody really can challenge the Rangers so far throughout the video. Hopefully teams make some moves in the offseason. Maybe I have to sabotage New York. I don't know, man. They do have a very good team. They added Jake Gensel, and now they're just literally unstoppable. They are basically the 2017 Golden State Warriors, just unbeatable in a 7-game series. With this much talent on the roster, I mean, what are you going to do? They also have Igor Shesterkin in the net, who's great, so hats off to the Rangers for three-peating here in the video. McKinnon and Jason Robertson are going to tie for the most points in the playoffs with 15, followed by Karlsson's 13. Draisaitl had 12. Stammer was up there, as well as Anthony Cirelli. Now for the award side, Mitch Marner is going to take home the Ted Lindsay, the Art Ross, and the Hart Trophy, while Matthews will win the Maurice Richard. The Norris is going to go to Erik Karlsson. Calder is going to go to Brandon Yeager. The Conn Smythe to Tyler Bertuzzi? How? Please somebody explain to me how. Igor Shesterkin will take home the Vezina, and the Selke is going to go to Austin Matthews of the Edmonton Oilers. So yeah, in the offseason, the best available free agent is Warren Foegele, so that's all there needs to be said about that. Oh, yet again, despite the fact that my dog is licking my mat in the background, I'm going to say again, the Rangers won the most games, 56 of them, followed by Chicago, Tampa Bay, and Edmonton all made the playoffs. Unfortunately, Dallas, Pittsburgh, Colorado, and Toronto. You guys are all out of here missing the playoffs again. Has Colorado and Toronto even made the playoffs yet? I don't think they have. Austin Matthews is going to lead the NHL in goal scoring. He's actually going to tie with goals with Draisaitl at 56, and for points, he's going to lead with 110. Followed by Robo's 105, Draisaitl 104, McKinnon 96, Makar was up there with 94, Breadman, Crosby as well. Where the hell is Connor McDavid? On the goal side, other than Matthews and Draisaitl, Stammer is going to have the most at 51, followed by Bedard's 47. Finally, Bedard's almost scoring 50 goals. McKinnon at 43, Kucherov 40, Robertson 38. McDavid is literally nowhere to be found. Now for defensemen, Makar is going to lead, 94 points. Adam Fox had 79, Karlsson 75, Bowen Byram had 58. Igor yet again is going to lead and wins with 38, and for shutouts is also going to go to Igor Shesterkin, who had 6. Avassi and Samsonov at 3 apiece. And in the playoffs, we have the New York Rangers versus Edmonton Oilers, Chicago Blackhawks, and the Tampa Bay Lightning. I'm willing to bet that the Rangers are going to go on again and win their 4th straight Stanley Cup of the video, but please, I would love to be pleasantly surprised. And finally, we have a fresh and new matchup here in the Stanley Cup Finals. Edmonton versus Tampa Bay. The Rangers got taken down in 6 games by the Oilers. Let's see who's going to go home with their very first Stanley Cup of the video, the Edmonton Oilers or the Tampa Bay Lightning. Who will it be? And the Tampa Bay Lightning are going to get it done here in year number 4 as they defeat the Edmonton Oilers in Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals. It was a hard-fought series back and forth. I honestly at one point thought the Oilers were going to take it home, but Tampa Bay did pull out here in Game 7 and got the job done. And we finally have a team that's not the Rangers go on and win the Stanley Cup, as Connor Bedard is going to take home the Conn Smythe, 5 goals and 12 points in the postseason. As here comes their captain, Artemi Panarin is the captain of the Tampa Bay Lightning. Nonetheless, here he is lifting the Stanley Cup for the very first time in his career and the very first time in the video, as the Tampa Bay Lightning are your Stanley Cup champions in year number 4. For the playoffs, Austin Matthews and Sidney Crosby are going to tie with 14 points apiece. Connor Bedard was up there, 5 goals and 12 points. Logan Stankoven had 11. And there it is. We finally see a team that's not the New York Rangers win the Stanley Cup for the 4th year in a row. Thank God Tampa Bay ended that shit. Austin Matthews is going to take home the Ted Lindsay, Maurice Richard, Art Ross, and Hart Trophy. The Norris to Cale Makar. The Conn Smythe is going to go to Bedsy, of course. The Vezina to Igor Shesterkin. Jordan Dumais will win the Calder. And the Selke is going to go to Leon Draisaitl yet again. And of course, yet again for 5 years in a row, the Rangers are going to finish as the best team in the NHL. They won 55 games. I believe their best record of the video so far. The Oilers came in second place with 48. Pittsburgh was up there as well. Chicago. Tampa Bay, who are the defending champs, are not even going to make the playoffs. Also, Dallas, Colorado, and Toronto are not. God damn, Colorado and Toronto have been dog water this entire video. I'm very disappointed in the Colorado Avalanche. I thought they had some secret simulation juice, dust, whatever the hell you want to call it. Cale Makar is going to go ahead and lead the entire league in scoring with 119 points, followed by Matthews, 115. Robo had 109. McKinnon, 103. Bedard was finally up there, 102. Crosby, 101 at 40 years old, still kicking. And McDavid had somewhat of a comeback season. I mean, only 96 points. So on the goal side, Connor Bedard is going to lead with 60 on the season. 22 years old, still very young, but already a absolute stud. Matthews had 59. Stammer 51, Robo 49, Kucherov was up there as well, McKinnon 47. Obviously, Makar is going to lead. It was not even relatively close. He damn near had a 30-goal season as well. Carlson did have a good year, though. 95 points is not bad by defensemen. Shesterkin's going to lead all netminders and wins with 41, followed by Vasi's 39 and Samsonov's 33. And for shutouts, it's going to be Andrei Vasilevsky, Georgiev, Jari, Prost, Vedov, whoever the hell this guy is. They all had 3 shutouts apiece. And in the Stanley Cup playoffs, we have New York versus Chicago, Edmonton versus Pittsburgh. Let's see who makes the Stanley Cup Finals. And in the Stanley Cup Finals, we have a new and fresh matchup between the Chicago Blackhawks and Pittsburgh Penguins. 2 teams that really dominated the 2010s. I mean, Chicago had 3 cups, Pittsburgh 2, but they never met in the finals. But now we get to see it unfold here in NHL 24 in the 5th and final season. Let's see who goes on and takes home the Stanley Cup. And the Chicago Blackhawks are going to get it done as they finally reach the Stanley Cup, the pinnacle of the sport, as they dominate Pittsburgh in 5 games in the Stanley Cup Finals. I mean, they got dominated by the Rangers. Was it once or twice throughout the video? Regardless, they got dominated, so they know how it tasted. Pause, but they did give it to Pittsburgh in 5 games, 4-1. And I mean, they do have a very good team. They have guys like Nathan McKinnon, Jason Robertson, Anthony Cirelli. Robo's up to a 94, and McKinnon's 95 or 96, so that says a lot. Cirelli's an 87, Bouchard's there, Lindell, Wah. An older but still pretty good Erik Karlsson is there, and of course, in goal, they do have Ilya Samsonov, who, I mean, in real life has been really struggling, but he's still an 84 here. So hats off to the Blackhawks for winning the Stanley Cup in the 5th and final season of the video. That old and withered Erik Karlsson, 37 years old, is going to lead everybody in points for the playoffs with 17, followed by Robo, 16, Capo Caco had 15, Nathan McKinnon, 13. And there it is for the entire video. We had the Rangers win 3 straight right off rip, then Tampa Bay last year, and of course the Chicago Blackhawks this year. Cale Makar is going to end up taking home the Ted Lindsay, the Art Ross, the Hart Trophy, and the Norris, while Connor Bedard is going to win the Maurice Richard. The Conn Smythe is going to go to Erik Karlsson, the Vezina to Diego, and the Selke will go to Austin Matthews of the Edmonton Oilers. And that is going to do it for this video, boys. We've gone ahead. I've reset the NHL. Also only had 8 teams in the league, and we saw the Rangers absolutely dominate. If you guys did enjoy it, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Of course, Cale Makar here with the Dynasty New York Rangers, hitting 3 straight in the first 3 seasons of the video, which was crazy. But thankfully, we got some teams at the end to win it in Chicago and Tampa Bay. I would like to say thank you all for watching, and until next time, don't be silly, wrap your willy.